Configure individual products more easily than ever before with the Product Configurator Pro. Guide your customers step by step through the selection process and flexibly control logic, presentation, and prices. Create flexible, multi-level product configurators and guide your customers intuitively through the process. Use freely configurable options with various field types, ensure error-free selection through intelligent dependencies, and benefit from dynamic pricing with surcharges and discounts. We are now on the homepage of the Shopware administration. To create a configurator, we navigate to Settings, then to Extensions, and click on Configurator. Here we can see various menu items, which we will go through step by step. First, we create a configurator by selecting the first menu item, Configurator, and clicking on Add. Here we assign an internal name. In our case, we will create a t-shirt configurator. Next, we define a title for display, activate the configurator, and adopt settings such as height and product availability from the plugin configuration. In the next step, we can assign the configurator steps, which we will create afterwards. Now we assign the configurator. This can be done via the configurator ID, dynamic product groups, or direct product assignment. In our case, we select a product group. Optionally, rules and customer groups can be defined to control the visibility of the configurator. Finally, we click on Save, and the configurator is successfully created. In the next step, we create a configurator step. To do this, we navigate back to the menu and select Configurator Steps. Here we can see existing steps that were created for the demo. And now we add another step for the print option. We assign an internal name, an internal ID, and a title for the front end. Then we define the position and decide whether the step is shown, displayed in the off-canvas cart, or pre-filled for similar configurations. Optionally, we can also add a tooltip and a help text to support the customer. And finally, we assign the step to the configurator we created earlier. In addition, it is possible to create options, selection values, and restrictions directly within the step configuration. Alternatively, these can also be managed centrally via the main menu and then assigned accordingly. We now save the step and proceed to create the corresponding options. For this demo, we have already added the print option, where the customer can choose between with or without print. Based on this, we now add the position option, which is only shown when with print is selected. To do this, we assign an internal ID, an internal name, and a title for the front end. Next, we define the position to determine the order within the step, and optionally an image can be added here. The variant settings control the visibility of the option for variant products. If nothing is selected, the option is always visible. Additionally, we can add a tooltip and a help text. Finally, we choose the appropriate field type, in our case, a single selection. We can either create the corresponding selection values directly within the option or manage them centrally via the Selection Values menu. For this demo, we have already prepared one selection value, in this case, the print position left chest. Now we add another selection value by assigning an internal ID. Optionally, the visibility can again be controlled via the variant settings. Then we define the selection value type. Here you can choose between product and selection value. We select the selection value and enter it in the next field, in our case backside. Then we define its position within the option, optionally add an image, and set any price surcharges or discounts. We set a surcharge of €5 for the backside print and define it accordingly. Optionally, we can add a text that will be displayed to the customer upon selection. Finally, we click on Apply, and now we have created two values for our option. To display the position option only when the customer selects a t-shirt with print, we can either add a restriction directly here or use the Restrictions menu. We now create a new restriction and assign an internal ID. Then, we select the option that will be used as the basis for this restriction. In our case, we define the following. If the print option has the value without print, the position option will be hidden. Finally, we click on Apply, and the option is now successfully restricted. Once we save the position option, we have successfully created our second option within the print step, including two selection values and a restriction. Finally, we assign a suitable layout to the configurator. To do this, we go back to the main menu and open More Settings. Here we select the desired layout, in our case the step-by-step layout. We also define the position of the configurator and place it below the description. Now we click on Save and take a look at the result in the front end. Here we can see the fully configured product configurator directly on the product detail page in a step-by-step layout. The customer is guided through the configuration step by step and can select the desired options. If the customer selects without print in the print step, the following option is automatically hidden. If with print is selected, the position option becomes visible and a position can be selected. And when selecting the backside position, you can see that the price updates dynamically with the surcharges for the print and the backside added automatically. Every product page becomes an interactive experience. Delight your customers and boost your sales with the Configurator Pro.